Hi, everyone. It's wonderful to be here. I have to mention that I was last time in Amsterdam exactly 10 years ago. I joined an exchange program at the Retail Academy, and it was quite inspiring for me to be here, like the vibrant culture. And one of my favorite moments was that I went down to do my laundry, and I discovered an interactive art piece in kind of the washer, and it was like quite fascinating that in Amsterdam you can bump into like some random performance in the arts all around the place. And since then, I have been in love with the creative energy that is here. So I'm glad I can be here today. And today, I'm just here to share some of my insights and my story within like fast-paced product environments and what does it mean from my point of view. And I would like to start with my journey. Like, how did I arrive here? So when I was about 3 or 4 years old in kindergarten, thanks to my mother, I could learn the basics of weaving, and I also was very fascinated about Lego, playing around with Lego. Sometimes I could get so immersed into using Lego that I just kind of skipped the morning routine to going to kindergarten, and I was at home until noon. My parents like kept there to just play around with the Legos. And what was particularly fascinating for me was, not building by the instruction manuals, but actually coming up with something new, like building a new pattern out from all these Lego bricks. And this created some friction in my daily routine, but I was fortunate enough that as an early child, I could just, explore my creative potential. Let me ask you a question. Like, how many of you might recognize this game on the screen? Please raise your hand if you do. Not many, I would expect. All right. So it seems it wasn't a very popular game, but this game was called The Incredible Machine, and it was one of my favorites back in the day. Around 1995, I had the chance to get an IBM 386 computer, which was quite rare in households back then, especially where I grew up in Slovakia in the post-like socialist era. But I had like an aha moment back then in kindergarten, and the very first question that I asked to my father was like, how are all of these games made on this computer? And then he told me that there's another type of language that you don't yet know about, and it's called the programming language. And me as a child, like, I was pretty fascinated by that wow, there's another language, I don't know about it, I want to learn more about it. And so my father wasn't very knowledgeable about software engineering, so he introduced me to one of his friends who was a software engineer, and I could kept asking some more questions. And this is the reason why at the age of 10, I asked for my birthday present for a Flash Bible. If you don't know about this book, it was like this very thick, heavy book consisting of like 2 chapters, like 1,200 pages, and I could learn action scripting, which was quite fascinating because with action scripting, I could like, explore my creative ideas, do some kind of designs for interactive pieces. And I as a child, I also participated in like pottery, cinematography, painting, and while I was already freelancing as a teenager. But why am I telling all of this to you? So I found this like interesting socio-cultural theory from Vygotsky, which is about the fact that yeah, all these like early ages are actually shaping our behavior, values, and creativity, and these foundational experiences impact how we then later interact with communities and the values that we uphold to, and ultimately our career paths too. So I believe that these like small things that I had in my early childhood contributed to like thrive in fast-paced product environments like product development. And I also studied at various universities. As I mentioned, I also had the opportunity to go to the Rietveld Academy. And because of this, I was able to explore a broad range of the discipline, from like visual effects to UI and UX. But I also had the opportunity to work with emerging tech, such as augmented reality, virtual reality, or even AI at various agencies. And later on, from the agencies, I had the opportunity to grow with various tech startups, like Shaper 3D, Prezi, and the current one is Spline, where I'm the head of product design right now. So I would like to switch gears here a little bit, and I want to ask you a somewhat random question. I prepared like a QR code, so if you could scan it with your phone, please feel free to ask this question. And the question is like, what animal would you be to thrive in a fast-paced product environment? So please scan this QR code and input your answers. You will see like a Slido page there. While you are doing that, imagine yourself in like your most productive week and what skills you would require for productivity, like speed, focus, collaboration, or anything, and what animal embodies all these like aspects. So take a moment to think creatively, and I'm going to reveal the answers here. Hopefully that works. So if you are able to actually load that QR code, should be somewhere here. Just need to find the shortcut for the Command S for the sidebar. I need to click it. All right. Oh no, it's gone. But for that case, I prepared the URL here. Yeah, so meanwhile, troubleshooting, think about the question. Going to enter it here. Oh, all right. Very nice. So this kind of like cloud of answers is based on like which were the most frequent answers. And I see a couple of ideas there, like a squirrel, a bird, cheetah, nice, elephant. But I also see that the largest one is the octopus, right? So maybe this is an obvious one, but I also choose that one. So I asked my son to actually draw it for me, just for fun. And I wanted to ask like if you can recognize what is on the picture, but since many of you answered the octopus already, I guess you would be able to, but it's pretty abstract. Yeah, based on my experience so far, I would choose an octopus, but let me explain why. So imagine that the design and technology landscape is a vast, ever-changing ocean, and designers are like octopuses in it, navigating this ocean with flexibility, creativity, and resilience. And so the octopus has these like 8 flexible arms and remarkable adaptability, and it can, juggle multiple tasks at the same time, and it can also easily adapt to different environments and just thrive under the pressure. So for that, I brought you like 5 fun facts about this beautiful animal, and I would like to explain these facts and tell you how I think they relate to some of my work or some of my stories and experiences from my own experience, like working in product companies. So there is this very first fact that, I don't know if you have heard about, that octopus can actually regrow their arms or limbs. And the reason they do it is that like a fish or shark might attack an octopus, they grab their arm, and the octopus just can let the arm go while being able to swim away safely. And because of this, they are able to actually regrow their limb. And it's just quite fascinating, like how adaptable they are and how resilient they are. In my early career, I also, just like an octopus regrowing its limbs, I had overcome significant obstacles. Let me tell you a short story in that regard. So when I was like, I mentioned you that I started freelancing early when I was a teenager. I was like 12 years old, and I started freelancing as a web designer. So I was terrified to actually call my client, and I asked my father to call it on my behalf. But he refused, and he taught me like a crucial lesson that if I wanted to continue with this client, I just need to call them myself. So I made that call, my hands were shaking, my voice was trembling, but I managed to discuss the project details so I could progress. And that experience taught me the importance of being on time with communication, which was like mentioned by both talks, I believe, previously. And for that, even today, I see teams facing similar challenges because they just don't speak up on time to their peers or teammates, causing some disruptions and wasted work. So in fast-based product environments like ours at Spline, we are like globally distributed, and we have like a balance of like async and real-time communication. And sometimes it can happen because like product development is parallelized. We are working on so many different things at the same time that we just don't sync properly, or we just have like a shorter sync asyncly, and we already start working on that thing. So just imagine missing that project kickoff that Lily mentioned, and that can lead to delays actually, because how you see the picture or how you understand what you need to build might be different from your stakeholders, and you just might waste lots of resources and time because you were doing or going into an entirely different direction what was expected. And I just see this and this is even. So Lily discussed that there is the lack of designer, but there is also sometimes the lack of the PM. So designers can also, just more early on, involve all the stakeholders like engineers, the founder, or like everyone that is on the team who are related to that given feature, and that would just lead to like faster delivery overall. And there's also an interesting idea about this, or like a beauty about the fact that some of the teams are like globally distributed and they are working across like different time zones, which has its own challenges, but it also has its own advantage, which is it many times happened to me that I had to like submit a bug report or like just do a minor like UX improvement, which was like pretty necessary for the feature that we were launching, and like post-release we needed to fix some things. And I was just playing around with it, collecting all these like things that need to be fixed. I submitted it at the evening, and the engineer, who is like on more towards the West time zone, could pick it up when I went to sleep. And the morning when I woke up, it was already in production in the live app, which is like pretty beautiful, right? So we can have this like 24-hour like around the globe, all around the clock working behavior with this. And yeah, it can only work if the team is moving fast in a way that is also well orchestrated. So the second fact that I brought to you today is about the octopus being a master of camouflage. Let me just take this off. Because it can change its like color, texture, and shape. And it has also special cells in its skin that allow it to match the colors of its surroundings. And the octopus can also alter the texture of its skin to look like a rock or smooth like sand in their tiny muscles. And additionally, it can also change its shape, so it can pretend or mimic objects like rocks or seaweed. And these abilities allow the octopus to actually hide from predators, which is like quite useful, I guess. And this adaptability or this ability to adapt can teach us a valuable lesson about how we approach our work to overcome certain challenges. So let me try to explain this one. There are oftentimes situations that require us to adapt to tasks that may not be our first choice or our favorite. And for instance, there was a time when I had to write documentations, like product documentations for the audience or the end users for weeks, which I didn't feel like this is my duty as a designer, but since we didn't have like a content creator on the team, I just had to do it. And however, it got me into a certain state of meditation where I could like clear my mind, rest a bit. So I just looked at it from the positive side, like, okay, I can now like skip my regular duties and do something differently. And what kept me alive was the fact that I wanted to write the best doc possible. So I wanted to like create something perfect, even though I didn't have the skills to do so. So at least I could learn something from it. There will be always ups and downs in product environments, but our ability to adapt is key to be able to navigate with them. There is this interesting idea or concept about the UX Amoeba. You can look it up. There's like a URL in the down left corner where you can basically measure your skills based on this like system as a designer. This is meant for like designers mostly. And what struck with me when thinking about this one is that there are like different areas right, of expertise. And I think what's interesting is that I think this is not a static Amoeba. This is something that's moving with time. So sometimes maybe you are focusing months or even years on certain areas. That means that you forget some other skills and then you need to upgrade them again. Like for instance, for me, this is something about coding, which I'm picking up again because I did lots of coding previously. So I want to pick it up again and adapt to the modern or like contemporary like languages and requirements where I might need it. And also on the, that part, like you might have as a person certain strengths. You can double down on those strengths more easily, or you can amplify your skills throughout your strengths. But you also have certain weaknesses, and you just cannot ignore them. So you also need to make sure that you have like a, an Amoeba that is like distributed in a way that suits most of the needs, but you can excel in certain areas, and that way we can more easily thrive in these fast-paced environments. The third fact that I brought to you is about the fact that octopus arm can actually think and act on its own, because each arm has its own mini brain. This means that the arm can decide how to move and react to things without actually waiting for instructions from the main brain. And for example, one of the arms can grab food, and the another one can explore a small hole under the ocean. And this adaptability, this ability helps the octopus to multitask and react quickly to certain things. So it makes it incredibly flexible and efficient. Which comes down to this idea that during the releases and product developments, you just have to sometimes contribute to so many different ideas that the workload often can feel overwhelming. On one hand, the variety of the tasks is cool because it provides valuable experience. You can learn from all sorts of different areas. But on the other hand, it's just hard to find the right balance, and setting priorities is like crucial. And in a startup, you just have to deal with a multitude of areas. It's just sometimes even challenging to prioritize design. Like couldn't even properly fit design on these kind of duties that we as a product designers sometimes have on product environments. And yeah, there's this other idea that octopuses have like multiple arms, and by using all its arms, if they don't orchestrate them properly and they don't move towards like one direction, they will be, unable to actually progress and reach their goals. So this just underscores the importance that coordination, alignment within a team settings is hyper or super important. And just like the octopus, your whole team members must move in harmony. All right, so the fourth fact regarding the octopus is that an octopus is very smart and can use to help tools or can use tools to help itself. For example, it might use shells to build a shelter or to protect itself from predators underwater. And this shows that the octopus can think and solve problems much like humans. And its ability to use tools makes it one of the most intelligent creatures in the ocean. This helps them to survive and thrive in its environment. I guess another good example might be the one from Steve Jobs, where he explained the idea that computers are like a bicycle for your mind. I recommend like revisiting that idea and how he explained it. But out of curiosity, how many of you use any AI tools for personal things? Please raise your hand if you do so. All right, some. And how many of you use it for work-related any tasks? Oh, a few. Cool. Yeah, I guess we are in an interesting era, right? There was this quite fascinating talk from Dr. Matt Welsh from 8 months ago on CS50, which is like this computer science course series. And without spoiling too much about the talk itself, the highlight for me was the idea that the semantics of programming languages haven't significantly evolved or improved over the past few decades. Like, it is still as hard as it was 20 or 30 years ago to, write complex code structures and algorithms, and this is still like pretty challenging. However, with the rise of large language models, the future of software development might shift. Like, it's still just shaping up right now, but might shift towards a natural language-based orchestration of software development. And this could potentially significantly increase efficiency for software teams, while it would still require human oversight, of course. But imagine just a project manager. Lily has an interesting, similar, like early example of how that could look like. Using they could use an AI agent to define the designs, generate all the required code for solutions, but then there must be a human who reviews it and then feeds it back to the product manager. But it's just pretty fascinating. Like, I don't know, where does this, like, I see environments where there's a lack of designers, see environments where there's a lack of product manager. I think it's getting more and more, in a sense, you just need to do more, I guess. But what does it mean? So it means that it either means that like teams will be smaller, or it means that the same amount of people can just achieve a lot more. And considering the fact that even just like digitization or digitalization is not over yet, there's just so many problems in the world that we need to solve that I'm quite fascinated by this, like how it will supercharge humanity and what we will be able to achieve. But yeah, just looking forward to it. And this leads to the last fascinating fact I have for you today, which is an octopus has 3 hearts, but one of them stops functioning when the octopus swims. Why is that? So this third heart is responsible for pumping blood to its organs, while the other 2 hearts circulate blood to its gills. And while swimming, the octopus basically conserves energy by allowing the third heart to rest, and which explain why they sometimes prefer to actually crawl when they can. And this unique adaptation enables the octopus to efficiently manage its energy while in motion, yet it can remain like a strong and good swimmer. And I believe this idea applies to our lives and work as well. Like sometimes we need breaks from our projects to conserve energy. And however, without any passion projects, a year might be feeling like unfulfilling. And just accomplishing something beyond our routine tasks can help us recalibrate and rediscover our core values. Like, what do I actually love? What do I actually like to do nowadays? Like, are those still the thing that I'm doing daily, or is there something different? Or do I need to pick up something that I previously liked, like coding in my case? And how can it happen? Like, how do you balance like work life, like passion projects, family, kids? Like, there's a lot to do, right? So, I feel like if you feel like you are in a work environment where you don't have enough like passion projects embedded in your actual like product environment, you might need to maybe take some breaks or do some slower periods where you can actually sneak them into your time somehow. And it's just important to balance energy and passions like the octopus. It can lead to a more fulfilling life, in my opinion. So with that, in summary, I don't want to read out all these bullet points from here, but I would like to highlight one, which is, I think it's just back to my own personal story, is that you need to find your inner child. You need to, find your core values, what you believe you love to do, and how you can, integrate that into these fast-paced environments so you can thrive and like excel towards the strengths that you have in yourself. And yeah, with that, I'm happy to discuss with you why you choose your animal, if it wasn't an octopus or anything else. Maybe we can look up the results later too. I will shut it with that. And just thank you for listening. I will stick around and looking forward to discuss more in the panel and after the sessions. And thanks for Dylan and all the organizers that we could be here. Thank you.